Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we're going to talk about the TVP VTU that got a buff in the 8.5 update, and I'm going to give you my opinion on it and mainly why I think that it was a completely useless and unwise one. For the record, back in the days it was easily penetrable with HE, and now Wargaming just strengthened the upper part of the hull, but also the part right there, as you can see, close to the gun mantlet. And even if you think at first glance that it might be a good thing for the tank, in the end it doesn't change anything, at least in my opinion. But if you manage to use it wisely and angle it proportionally, then well, maybe you will be able to do something on the battlefield. Because back in the days, regardless of where you shot at, especially at the front, you could penetrate even at that angle. But here and now everything is subject to change and you can troll your opponents with it. But keep in mind that you still have this part right here that needs to be covered if you want for it to be a success. Before jumping straight into a playstyle and explaining everything, I just want to do a quick recap of what the TVP VTU is. It's probably one of the most unpopular tanks at tier 8, and for the right reasons. When it comes to the DPM, it's bad, even if your average damage is good. Let's say that you're gonna struggle, especially because of your 6 degrees of gun depression. In my opinion, if Wargaming wanted to make that tank relevant, they should have given maybe 8 to 9 degrees of gun depression, but not necessarily do anything about the armor profile. For the rest, it's a tank that goes fast and that doesn't feature any armor. Let's roll. The first replay is not necessarily the best game I ever had with this tank, but at least in my opinion it shows the strength and weaknesses of this tank, and this is why I think it illustrates perfectly what I'm about to say. As I just mentioned, you lack a lot of gun depression, and you're gonna see that straight away as I'm trying to get my shots or see what is in the metal. You see that the T-54 lightweight is coming, and oh boy, look at the struggle to be able to get the guy. Here I was lucky that I was on a flat ground and that the terrains were not that hilly, but otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do anything. For example, here, take a look at my gun depression limit and my actual gun depression against the heavy. It really shows that this tank is really hard to play correctly and hard to put into the right position. And I can totally understand why people think it's a negative one and that it's unpopular. I mean, who would want a tank that doesn't have DPM, that doesn't have a good gun depression, which makes it not versatile at all, and that on top of that doesn't feature any armor? Well, you guessed it, nobody. Now you saw we took one bounce, and I really want to insist on the bounce we took. Why did we take this bounce here? Because we over-angled our tank. It's your only way to bounce anything. But if you manage to do it, you will bounce everything. And this is how you are supposed to play this tank. This is how you are supposed to bounce right now. You need to force or bait your enemies, opponents, into thinking that it's a safe place to shoot, whereas it's not. Now for the rest of the tank, you're going to see you're going to get penetrated quite easily. I'm supposed to have 220 millimeters on the front turret, and here I got penetrated like it was nothing, because as soon as you turn just the slightest your turret, you're getting penetrated. And this is why, in my opinion, the buff is completely irrelevant. Maybe Wargaming should have accessed either on the DPM or the gun depression, but definitely not on the armor. Just take a look at that. We're getting completely wrecked by the M4 and the rest. Every single one of the opponents knows it's easier to penetrate me than the 252U and the IS-5, even after my post buff. Therefore, it makes it completely irrelevant, but it's only my opinion and you're entitled to yours as well. Now, of course, concerning this tank, it seems like your only option is to stick with the rest of your team, like it was the case in the 8.4 update. Wargaming might have changed one or two things and will get you one or two lucky bounces from time to time, but that's it. If you don't master perfectly the playstyle with this one, you will never be able to achieve what Wargaming intended by buffing it. Of course, I think it's kind of lame from Wargaming to buff statistics that nobody cared about in the first place. I mean, the TVP VTU was never meant to be a tank that could effectively bounce shots, and you saw it right now taking a shot from the Scorpion G, and you will see it multiple times during this replay. The TVP VTU is a tank that is supposed to harass the enemies, to sneak around, to circle, and this is something that the tank can't do because it lacks of gun depression, because it lacks of mobility. They should have, I don't know, touch something else than the armor. Who cares about armor on a medium tank when in the first place the tank is not supposed to have armor? It's not like They are preparing you to get a tank that will effectively be bounce shots. Yeah, like the TVP, the regular one, the tier 10 one. Here, no, even the tier 10 doesn't bounce anything. So why would Wargaming do such an unwise thing by buffing the armor? It really looks like they took that tank on the list, they had a gathering, and they said, well guys, we didn't touch that tank specifically for a long period of time, and nobody's playing it based on the statistics, so hey, what do you propose we do? Someone said, hey, maybe we can increase the gun statistics? Nah, this is going to be overpowered. Hey, maybe we can improve the mobility? Nah, this is going to be overpowered. You know what it lacks of? Armor. Why? Just why? I don't get it. I do not understand what they meant to do. Of course, that armor profile is going to be a little bit better when you're facing tier 7, because tier 7 will effectively bounce your turret. They will possibly bounce also the frontal part of the hull if they don't have the latest gun and they're playing stock. But beside them, all tier 8s, all tier 9s, everyone will penetrate you. So what's the point? I don't know. Wargaming, please explain. So yeah, if you were looking to get the TVP VTU into thinking that the new buff was gonna make it outstanding, sorry, I have some bad news for you, because this is not the case. But you still have the possibility of telling me in the comments down below what you think about the tank in its current state. Do you think it's better or not? Do you think everything remained unchanged? Because personally, I didn't see any difference. Hopefully you enjoyed. If that's the case, you know what to do, and I'm gonna see you soon for a new video.